Double the fun, understanding, double the recipe. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our English language learning series. Today, we're diving into a common phrase that you might encounter in everyday conversations, especially in the kitchen: double the recipe. Understanding this phrase not only helps in cooking but also gives insight into how English speakers use language in practical situations. So, let's get started and unravel the meaning and usage of double the recipe. Double the recipe is a phrase commonly used in cooking and baking. It simply means to multiply all the ingredients in a recipe by 2. This is usually done when you want to make a larger quantity of the food item than what the original recipe produces. For example, if a cookie recipe calls for 1 cup of flour, doubling the recipe would mean using 2 cups of flour. It's a straightforward way of increasing the amount of food without having to calculate each ingredient separately. There are several reasons why someone might want to double a recipe. The most common reason is to serve more people. If you have guests coming over or a large family, doubling a recipe ensures there's enough food for everyone. Another reason might be for meal prepping. If you want to prepare meals for several days, doubling a recipe can save time and effort. It's important to note that while doubling a recipe is easy for some dishes, it can be tricky for others, especially baked goods. This is because baking is more of a science, and the proportions of ingredients like baking powder, yeast, or eggs can affect the texture and taste of the final product. Here are some tips to successfully double a recipe. 1. Use a calculator. To avoid errors, use a calculator to precisely double the measurements. 2. Be careful with seasonings. When it comes to spices and seasonings, sometimes it's better to add less than double at first and adjust to taste. 3. Oven and cookware size. Make sure your oven or cookware can accommodate the increased quantity of food. 4. Baking adjustments. For baked goods, be extra cautious with leavening agents. Sometimes, they don't need to be doubled exactly. Doubling a recipe sounds simple, but there are common pitfalls. Overcrowding the pan. This can lead to uneven cooking. Not adjusting cooking time. Sometimes, more food means longer cooking times. Doubling small quantities incorrectly. Be precise with measurements, especially for ingredients like salt, baking powder, and yeast. We hope this video helps you understand what it means to double the recipe and how to do it correctly. Remember, cooking is both an art and a science, so feel free to experiment, but keep these tips in mind for the best results. Happy cooking, and see you in our next English language learning adventure.